good when he bought him, right? When he took over, they had a good coach and a good quarterback in Ron Rivera and Cam Newton. He said, yeah, we're good. I want to be great. I want to see if we can't do better. And he sees Deshaun Watson. He's like, I don't care. We need to do everything we can to get Deshaun. My hat's off to him. It's the right idea. But I don't think the deal is going to be the best deal they're offered, Stephen A. 3 firsts and Christian McCaffrey. McCaffrey is an amazing player. And he's more than just a running back, but that is the position he plays. And you have to be careful when you overpay for running backs, both in terms of draft capital and contracts you give him. He's coming off a big injury, and he has a big contract. So that's one of the things you're getting back. And then you're getting 3 firsts. Well, is that the best offer they're going to get? Stephen A., you know what Miami can offer them? Miami's picking 3rd and 18th in the 1st round this year. And they have Tua Tagovailoa, who, were he coming out of the draft this year, would probably be the 2nd quarterback taken. I think, and then they have a draft, 1st rounder next year. The Jets, Stephen A., have 2 firsts this year and 2 firsts next year and 2 thirds this year. The Jets and the Dolphins are going to be in a position to offer the Texans a better deal than the one currently on the table, apparently, from the Panthers. So I don't think the Texans should take this one.
I'm not going to say no definitively. I get where you're coming from, and for the most part, I agree with you if that were the case. But we don't know what the Jets are willing to offer, what the Miami Dolphins are willing to offer. We hear a lot of noise, but we don't know. And if I'm the Houston Texans, I have to listen. And here's why I have to listen, Max. Because not only does those 3 first-round picks includes the number 8 overall pick coming up in this draft, but it also includes Christian McCaffrey. And we have to remember what a stud this brother is. He is something special. Make no mistake about it. And when you have a guy like him that's an all-world back, he's not a one-dimensional player. He can run. He can catch passes out of the backfield. You know what I'm saying? You could put him in a slot. He could make things happen. This brother is that gifted. Christian McCaffrey is an NFL star. Let's not forget that. And when I look at it from that perspective, and I'm talking about getting 3 picks along with him, certainly, if you're the New York Jets and you offer something when you've got the number 2 overall pick, that changes things. Certainly, if you're the Miami Dolphins, all right, with the year that they've had, they're on a come up. You've got a high picks to offer as well. Not to mention Tua Tagovailoa, if you wanted to throw him in there, yeah, I got to think about that, and that's probably better. But barring that, I don't know if I can get much better than what the Carolina Panthers may be in a position to offer me. I think the hiccup is that, remember, Deshaun Watson's got a no-trade clause.
Strained.
And he has to sign off on these things, just like Houston does. And I don't know if he'd sign off on Carolina, but if he were to be willing to do that, I would certainly consider that if I'm the Houston Texans, because Christian McCaffrey is a part of that deal.
The thing is, the Panthers were, it's been reported, and people have speculated, what would it take for Carolina to trade up to grab Miami's number 3 pick, right? They would do the 2nd rounder, next year's 1st rounder, because then they could grab a quarterback, Zach Wilson or whomever, that they really like. So that draft capital, because they have the 8th pick, which is good, but obviously not as good as the 3rd, that draft capital would be spent just to get their quarterback, who knows if he'll ever be half as good as Deshaun Watson. But Miami is sitting there with a 3rd overall pick already. And the thing about the no trade that you bring up, Stephen A., is usually if you're Deshaun Watson, you're like, I don't want to go to that team. They stink. That's why they're drafting 3rd overall. But the Dolphins are kind of loaded. The Dolphins are a really good team. They have the 3rd pick because of a trade. So they're unlike the Jets. They're not a moribund franchise, as you would say, right? They're a strong, rising franchise in a warm weather state, right? You bring up the fact
with no state
in a league without African-American coaches and GMs, just keep ticking it off with no state income tax. Why would he not say, yeah, with a no trade clause, yeah, I want to be traded there? And the fact that they got the number 3 pick and a QB who'd probably be the 2nd one taken and more draft capital, it just seems to me like what really the Texans have to do is find out, do the Dolphins want to trade for Deshaun Watson? Because if they do, you got to say no to the Panthers. They can't offer you as much. And by the way, who knows if Deshaun would say yes?
Here's the biggest reason you should say no to the Panthers if you were going to say no. You should say no to the Panthers if you're Deshaun Watson. Maybe not the Houston Texans, but definitely if you're Deshaun Watson. Here's why. Because I want to go and play with Christian McCaffrey. I don't want to arrive there at the expense of him leaving. That's really the biggest problem. You want Christian McCaffrey there with you, and that's not going to work. So, again, I'm not disagreeing. I think that the Jets and the Miami Dolphins are in a much better position to offer a better deal than the Carolina Panthers. I'm just saying we're not hearing that definitively that they're going to make those offers, particularly if you're the Miami Dolphins. And if that's not what the situation is, then I got to leave my options open if I'm the Texans. And 3 first-round picks plus Christian McCaffrey is not a bad deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you're looking at it from the Texans' perspective, Christian McCaffrey is one of only 3 players to record 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 receiving yards in the same season. Also a really likable guy, maybe someone that Houston can get behind now that they lost Watt. Also maybe Watson. And also, guys, Olivia Culpo is his girlfriend, all right? To me, that's a win. You get her in the stands during games. All right, we're going to leave it there. We got a lot more to get to right here on First Take. Will Pennsylvania stay Wensylvania? There's a chance, and one of the guys says it's the best option for the Eagles. That debate coming up. And today we are spotlighting historic Morehouse College on our HBCU Wednesday. Morehouse has 32 academic majors taught by 85 full-time faculty and several championship-winning athletic teams. Here's Morehouse President David A. Thomas with a welcome message.
Welcome to First Take. I'm David Thomas, president of Morehouse College, the only historically black college dedicated to the education of men. We are the #1 producer of black men who go on to get doctorates, who've gone on to get Rhodes scholarships and Fulbright scholarships. The only place on the planet that produces black male excellence at scale. For those of you who are young men looking for your next stop, think about Morehouse.
Love his color coordination. Love those glasses. We'd also like to take the moment to recognize the passing of Vice President and Dean of Morehouse College, Maurice Washington. He was loved and respected by the entire Morehouse community. We send our condolences to his family